Well, blessed Monday to you as we come to you with your daily encouragement. And we are continuing together with Life Together. And this is the day alone and what it means to be alone in order to be together. And so Dietrich Bonhoeffer has been talking about the benefits and what alone time prepares us for together time. And so he speaks with a family where a family lives close together in a constricted space and the individual does not have the quietness he needs. Regular times of quiet are absolutely necessary. After a time of quiet, we meet others in a different and a fresh way. Many a household fellowship will be able to provide for the individual's need to be alone and thus preserve the fellowship itself without from injury only by adopting a regular order. Now, that's always a hard one for myself, and I would say for our family. We are a family of seven, or have been a family of seven. My oldest daughter has now moved out, but during that time, it was always amazing to see how fast things could deteriorate, or should I say, become a little chaotic in our family. And I don't think I'm alone in that assertion. But we learned the hard way that we needed to have time set aside to be quiet. Now, as a person who grew up as an only child, I did not have that type of discipline, or at least have it spelled out, because if I wanted to be loud, I could be loud. If I wanted to be quiet, I could be quiet. I did not have a lot of community accountability except for my parents. And then when I moved away, I even gained even more independence. And so this has always been a difficult one for me. But I can understand exactly what he's talking about. Without that quiet time, without that time away, we can be approachable. If we can have times, I should say, where we are not approachable because we are still having to get rid of things in our lives that will cause sin and will cause confusion and will cause separation. Now, I would say that there is a other danger that I have seen now with our technology, and that is where each one of us can go to our own private areas of the house and interact with a screen and interact with uh, radio or television. But, back in the day, it was simply just a Walkman or some other thing, or even just a private record player and stereo. So some of this technology is not old to us, but it has become much more insular, where we can have many people in a house and they do not have community together. Each one is in their own worlds. The joke that I've heard from many parents, and we've done it a few times, is if you want to have an immediate family meeting that everyone will respond to, is you turn off the Wi-Fi, and then within a minute, everyone emerges from their rooms and wonders what happened to the connection, what happened to their connection to their own little worlds, and they are forced to deal with community. Sometimes those connections happen when we take away the things that we have grown accustomed to, whether it be electricity, which when we live in a rural area is much more common, but it can happen in any place where our connections to the outside world, our electricity, and other things can be taken away in a heartbeat. And all of a sudden, we have to rely on not someone's virtual presence, but actually someone's physical presence. And I always like to remind that of my kids, because sometimes if we get too into our own worlds, we fail to see that there is an important community that is supporting us around us that we have either chosen to ignore or forgotten about because we have been distracted. Now, that type of distraction doesn't necessarily have to be just technology. It could even be if you're a book person, and I have had a tendency to be kind of a book person too, where we try to just ignore the world for the sake of ignoring the world. Now, what does this have to do with aloneness and together time? It's once again a matter of balance. And when we are in a close, tight knit, and should I say, tightly bound family where there is not a lot of space to be alone, it is important to find that time alone so that we can be fresh with one another. Because our natural instinct, at least as far as we understand it, from the fall of humanity, from Adam and Eve on down, has been to cause not harmony but conflict, to cause disorder rather than order. And our natural ways and instincts of the world can lead us down the wrong path rather than the right path. If we had seen ourselves before the fall of humanity, before Genesis 3, we'd probably be able to naturally live in harmony no matter if we're close or far away from each other. But that is not our natural instinct. And so that is why we need that alone time. But not just alone time, but we need it with the Lord. And we need to make sure that we are going through that process of renewal. There is one interesting application when it comes to technology, I've noticed. Every computer that you have has what we'd call updates or little interruptions to our time, and unfortunately, they seem to always come at the time we need the computer the most, and we find out that it has a necessary update that's going on. And what I understand is happening is that parts of the computer are being reprogrammed by the entity that we have chosen to provide us with the most update program that we possibly can have. The same is true of our own spiritual life. We cannot go on just the benefits of our one baptism alone. In fact, that one baptism promotes to daily dying and rising to the sins of our life. Our most popular book as Lutherans is Romans, and it says that baptism is a symbol of both dying and rising to the things that we need to take away and rising to the things that need to rise up in us. It is not just a one-time event, it is a lifetime event that starts from one source. And so the same is true of our spiritual life. We need that time alone to get our new updates so that we can be fresh, as Dietrich Bonhoeffer says, with other people and be a true community. God bless you today. We trust that these continue to be words of encouragement. Take care. God bless. We'll see you tomorrow.